everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Three Questions with Andrew. I am joined from my partner to the second most north territory that we have. Alaska has him beat. But nonetheless, I'm here with Shyam from Gusto Distribution. If I can get that out of my mouth right here on this Friday in Montana. So Shyam, welcome. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you, Andrew. My name's Shyam. We're Gusto Distributing here in Great Falls, Montana. We cover Great Falls, Helena, Havre, Bozeman, and Eastern Montana. We've been in business for 59 years. My grandparents started the company. Started with one brand, Schlitz beer, almost 60 years ago. Today we carry over 1,000 SKUs, have over 20 routes, 20 plus salesmen. So it's pretty crazy how it's grown. But yeah, we operate in a logistics business. We don't operate in a beer business, a wine business, a Red Bull business. We operate in a logistics business and servicing customers to the best of our ability. So the most important piece to that is having brands that customers want. We live in a world where innovation is key. So a big part of my job is finding what innovation is working, is not working, and is helping drive the business not only for us internally at Gusto, but for our customers. Because if we're not providing them value, they stop calling us. So that's a big portion of what I do. But that's Gusto.
Awesome. No, thanks for introducing us to Gusto. I know one of the things when we were looking for distribution in the state that we liked, we love working with other family businesses. Like there's something unique that we found about each and every one that we go with, that there's just a different kind of like hands-on approach to the customers. And just like the way you explain, right, what Gusto does is you're not your traditional distributor introduction, right? It's, hey, like we are in logistics, but we take care of our customers, like bring them what they need, we introduce them to new things. And so, you've been a great partner for us, so we're happy to be there. And I'm happy to jump right into first of our three questions, which is going to be from your perspective, right, in distribution and within your state. What are some of the things you see happening this year? Any trends, anything that gets you excited about the beverage, or how you see it evolving? Just kind of share with us a little bit of kind of state of the business.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, we had a Friday sales meeting this morning. So I can tell you right now, people in my generation have less money in their pocket and are ever more stingy with how that money is being, used for discretionary spending. So whether it's sports betting, whether it's THC, whether it's alcohol, whether it's paying rent or eating out, that pot of money is shrinking. So for us, it's extremely important to be able to provide products that contribute to this new generation of growth or lack thereof. So one thing we've known for a long time is that yellow beer has been in decline for the past 5 to 7 years, call it. It's just what it is. Now granted, there's certain brands, the Modelo's of the world, the Mich Ultras of the world, the Coors Lights of the world, of course they do show growth in certain pockets and at certain times of the year. That said, total beer has been on the decline, share wise, dollar wise, CE wise, in the aggregate. So for us, we've had to take a really hard look and step back to what traditionally has worked for us and find new ways. So I got back to Gusto 2 years ago. I spent some time working for a supplier actually, but it was really important for me coming back to find a way to diversify and find ways to expand, because the alcohol and just total beverage space is really going through a rebrand. And I think, what is offered, how it's offered, and really the effects, whether that is, alcohol related effects, THC related effects, or how it makes you feel by holding the can in your hand or whatever it is. That's really, really, getting a makeover. So I guess, short answer to it, the category is a big question mark right now. It's a big, massive question mark. But we do find these slivers of things that, if you're not diving into it, somebody else will, and they're going to win with it. And even if it's for the next month or the next decade, you can't risk not being involved in it.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense, and that's a really well said take on the industry, right? At large, we play and partner with a lot of traditional spirits partners for events and brand activations, and there's definitely been shrinking marketing budget, sales getting cut, across the board. And so there is definitely, we see it, and we sometimes feel it too, right? There's headwinds we faced in alcohol and alcohol adjacent products at the moment. But the way you said it at the beginning, which is there's this kind of this reckoning that's happening. Things were fairly status quo for a while in adult beverage sales, and now, right, with the advent of non-alc, right, which started in beer, right, and it's now kind of it's wine and spirits, all three of them. The rise, right, of even you think, Red Bull, for all intents and purposes, isn't a very old company, right? And so bringing up the energy drink market and the functional beverage, and so it's this new. What I think we've seen with non-alc is kind of this continuation of listening to the customers, and each generation is different, and they're demanding different things, and they're looking to align with brands and product choices that kind of match how they see themselves in the world, right? And so with limited funds, limited discretionary funds, I think it's important to see and to listen, to those customers when they say, we need a brand that kind of represents this, and if I'm going to spend this, hard earned and sometimes in short supply cash on something, it's got to make me feel how I want it to feel, and kind of live up to that brand promise. That's right. Let's jump into question 2, and I want you to kind of take this, and it's a good extension of that first question. Talk a little bit about how you've seen the conversation, how you've seen interest in non-alcoholic options, right? So you have cut above, so you have your non-alcoholic spirit option. You've had it for several months now in the market, and so I think it's probably the freshest perspective we're going to hear right now in terms of maybe a little bit about what kind of led you to bring in cut above, and then what do you hear both from your sales teams and the customers that you talk to about what their customers are looking for from non-alc options? Yeah,
that's it's been really interesting, for one, but I'll lay it out in kind of 2 pieces. So, yes, the dollars to go around are probably shrinking, but what's not shrinking is experiences. I think what's so interesting about the shifting landscape is that travel, expenditures, things that are about experiences and being out, making core memories, that's not shrinking, that's not changing, that's not going anywhere. In fact, you're seeing people take out loans to go to Coachella. I don't recommend that, so don't hold me against that. But people are spending money in that space. So for the NA space, specifically NA spirits, it's the experience that plays a massive role in why it belongs on the shelf, I think is the best way to put it. Specifically where we've seen the most success with cut above and just our NA portfolio total is in the on-premise. People want to be out. I think the lockdowns in 2020 and COVID and all that played a role in it too, where people don't want to take that for granted anymore. But where you can provide experience for consumers, where they're not necessarily feeling the same effects of what alcohol did, that scratches that itch, I think is the right way. And then for retailers, flip side of that, there's been a lot of hesitancy when they're, you bring them an NA spirit because of, quality for one, which obviously cut above has answered every question that we've, needed it to as far as the quality goes. But also, are people going to buy this? And the answer has been a resounding yes. You have to educate, you have to make sure that the consumers know it exists. But, at the core of it, we're all here to make money too. And it's an extremely lucrative play for a lot of these bar and restaurant owners to leverage the fact that if their entire spirits book is down, but their NA spirits book is making up that difference, we're providing that value to a totally, different segment. So the reception has been interesting, like I said, but it's been positive. It's been a lot of education. We also operate in a lot of rural parts of Montana. So, we're not a Los Angeles, we're not Phoenix, we're not a New York or Atlanta. However, when people understand the offering and understand that the value that it can provide both for consumer and retailer, the conversation usually goes pretty good, because there's so many ways to tailor specifically cut above to what they're after and what we're after. There's a lot of creativity that can be had.
Right. No, I think that's well said. Like there is that common thing, right, between all of us involved in the end-to-end kind of beverage delivery marketplace, from the bar or restaurant who, again, may have a decline in one part of the menu if they see non-alc, and the training part and the conversation part I think is so important, and the real service that I think you and the team do really well, because it's I've seen programs bring in non-alc options, and maybe the beverage manager or the bar manager is into it, and they get it, and they know it's going to perform well. But then if that message doesn't kind of get out to like the serve staff, right, and they're like, oh, we've got this, and it's not going to take, like, they can be immediately down about the product, and if you're like, okay, well, maybe I don't want that, it's not going to be good. But when you have someone like developing a good beverage, and you have the front of the house staff, if you will, able to talk about it in a way like, hey, this is what it is, what it isn't, and it's going to offset maybe this thing you have to do the next day, right? Just have your next margarita just could be non-alcoholic, and then it starts to click for people. And I always say, like, it really comes out, like, the biggest thing for us is try it once. And why would you like tasting events? Because, like, as soon as they try it, they get it, and like, okay, I see. Even and the majority of consumers of non-alc spirits are consumers of alcohol. They can see, okay, this could fit in my life in this way. On a Wednesday making dinner, I'm going to use a non-alc spirit, or if I got something to do the next morning, I'm going to taper it back at the end of the day. And so for us, like, seeing those adjustments, which for us, how we always thought it was going to go, which is non-alc's not here to replace traditional spirits, it's here alongside it. It's a complement to it, and it helps you weather, right, tough times like this by still having a drink you can serve and you can charge your customers for. It's a win all around. Everybody's happy, right?
Right. Yeah, I like the terminology you used. It's how do you, like, it's not a square peg round hole solution, or at least attempt at a solution. I'd say it's a partnership. The way you make it work together, and finding the way that it fits for each individual, each retailer, each consumer, each partner. They're all probably in a million different ways different.
Yeah, that's it. But it's like I say, it's zero proof for everybody, right? It's just getting that first taste.
Right.
All right, so let's kind of switch gears, going into the last question, or third question. This one's a bit of a grab bag, so you get to choose, if you will. It's meant to just have those who are going to watch this get to know you a little bit better. So it can be hidden talent you maybe want to share with us, a weird food combination, favorite karaoke song, just something that helps us to get to know you a little bit better. We'd love to hear.
Okay. So I don't break it out a lot, but if I were to do karaoke, it will be Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg. Now that Gin and Juice can be an NA Gin and Juice, or it could be a spirited Gin and Juice. The last two times, one's been at a bachelor party in northern Montana, and the time before that was in Charleston, South Carolina, in a dive bar. So those are the two places that have seen it most recent. But that's my go-to.
That's always a crowd favorite, right? It's always a hit. You can't go wrong with that.
Everyone joins, so they don't really hear me, and that's the best part.
Yeah, I love that. Well, there you go, man. Excellent choice of karaoke song. I'm terrified of karaoke. I think I've done it only once in my life.
It's awful.
But if you picked a song like that, I would definitely join in, and no one can hear my terrible voice, so I dig it. Well, thanks for spending some time with me. I know we had to kind of reschedule this in a good way. We're both busy growing our businesses, and so I always learn something from these types of calls. I think the way you kind of explain, offering non-alc as a solution and seeing it evolve and responding to the consumer demand, and really being a problem solver is a lot of kind of what we do for our on-premise partners and for our off-premise partners as well. And so I really appreciate that view and that perspective. And just thanks for spending some time with me, man.
Absolutely, Andrew. And again, appreciate you coming into our market and saying what's up and helping sell, because we don't get a ton of visitors here at Great Falls, Montana, but when someone gets on a plane from Houston, Texas, it's appreciated. So thank you.
Yeah, I need to go up there and experience the summer.
Yeah,
it's too cold out there.
You came in February in Great Falls, Montana, so maybe we'll have you come back in July or August.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want them ever to question I'm not a dedicated partner. I'm coming in February.
I love it.
Well, thanks again, man. I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Andrew.